starting the auction off at $1 for 1 minute, like we always do.
This is one of our favorite covers, and you got it.
A little bit of that, what y'all been looking for, right? A little bit of that, what y'all been looking for, right?
It gets a little eerie. It does, doesn't it? Hulk 180 versus Hulk 181.
Oh my gosh.
So true story. Sammy and I, we started talking about this subject in its entirety. And we were talking for like, I don't know, a half hour, 45 minutes. Like the conversation went long and they were like, all right, well, how do we tighten it up? How do we get this all done in one video? And then we were like, we thought we figured it out. And then I called you up today, sent you a Marco, and I'm like, change of plans. There's no way we can do this entire thing in 10 minutes.
Right.
It's impossible. The conversation is too large. How large of a conversation is this, Sammy?
Oh, it's pretty big. Like Tony and I have been talking about this topic for over a year now, and the case is not closed. Case unclosed, and it's just a fun topic. So forever.
So for those who are new to the comic book community, Hulk 180 versus 181 is the subject we're discussing. And the reason why it is such a big topic that is never going to die. Like this is something that's going to continue on. And I even have my suspicions of ways that it could get worse. And remind me to talk about how things could get worse before the end of this particular conversation. But Hulk 180, 181 is a subject of conversation of like every dealer, every fan, because Wolverine is an awesome character. Hulk 181 is a major book for the character, Hulk 180 as well. But most individuals look at Hulk 181 as the first appearance. We're going to just put quotes around that for now. Let's just bear with me. We're going to get into verbiage here in a second. But we're going to talk about what that means for the key book, but larger than that, this comparison of which book is the true book, the big key behind Wolverine, the big one, is something that has become the basis of the rest of the key conversations. And that's because comic books do something that you would expect them to do. They've done it since their creation that has ongoing continuity. When they introduce a character, a lot of the times, they like to slow burn it. They like to tease the character and then at times announce their character's presence in the book at some point, typically the issue before. Sometimes it happens a few times even before that, and we'll get to those moments eventually. Hit the subscribe button because this is just the start of the conversation. But it turns it into a appearance and then a full appearance. And I want to get into the verbiage here today, but I want to start the conversation off right by introducing that this is even a thing to the community. And Butch is in the house. What's up, buddy? Come on.
Hey, Butch.
We're live. This is how it goes, comic fam. Hit the like button. Come on.
And like too, like as I was saying earlier, this is just one of those conversations that it like, look at the chat. It really brings a community together in a fun way. Like it's like a fun, healthy debate because we're all comic nerds here. There's so many different comic book debates to be had, and it just keeps us all connected. So we thought like this Hulk 180, Hulk 181 would be, like Tom was saying, it'd be a good way to share about the difference in appearances, but also get the chat involved and get some community involvement around this really dope topic.
I love it. So we have a verbiage that we have to start talking about first, but let's actually get Butch off of me first and maybe bring some pictures up. What do you say?
Sounds good. While you're doing that, Al Neo said Hulk 180, Hulk 181 is not the first appearance, and some might agree. And we will talk about this later, but let's look at the FOOM too. If you know, you know. We're going to talk about that on another day.
It's true, yeah. Hit the subscribe button, Comic Familia. We're going to go there.
Right.
We're going to go there. All right, so let's set the stage here. I pulled up pricing for 9.8s of this year for Hulk 180 and 181. Can you hit them with the lows for Hulk 180 and 181, and then the highs of where they are currently are, because we've seen some monster growth just in this very year.
Oh, absolutely. Let's wait for it to. You might want to do it because I've got a lag.
Oh, you got a lag? Okay, cool. I'll pull it up then
On my screen.
Okay, cool. Let's take a look at my. I want to say the numbers correctly here. So let me just look at my notes real quick. Hulk 180.
Oh my gosh, it's right in front of me. So silly.
You got it?
Yes.
Yeah, you may beat me to it. So go ahead and hit him with it.
I had a moment, y'all. All right. So Hulk 180, 9.8. Low this year is 25,500. High is 40,800.
I may have messed that up.
Oh my gosh, 40,800. Having moments all over the place.
I may have
Don't get
typed
too
it
excited.
wrong. Yeah, it's not a
It
half a
wasn't
million dollar
400.
book. Yeah. Oh, was it 40 or did I put 400?
It was 40,000.
40,000.
800 is the high on the 9.8. Okay.
Okay, so we got $40,000 is the new high for a Hulk 180. And notice on the screen what you're seeing is a CGC 9.8. And let's talk about the verbiage. First appearance of Wolverine in Cameo on the last page. Okay, and then let's talk about the next one.
All right, so Hulk 181 at a 9.8. Low this year was 45,500. And the recent high is 87,300.
All right, so I have an 8.0 on the screen, mostly because the label is super clear, but both of these books have doubled in price. So we have on the 180 first cameo appearance of Wolverine, on the 181 first full appearance of Wolverine. So verbiage really matters here, because what you'll notice is what is absent is just a standard blanket statement of first appearance of a character. There is like an asterisk here. There's some clarification that needs to be said. Now, when you pull up Overstreet, what you're going to find, and we'll get to this down the road because older Overstreets have said different things, but what you'll find to this day is it says that it's a brief appearance in Hulk 180, and in Hulk 181, it is the first appearance in story, first full story. All right, that's essentially the verbiage used. You know what? I can probably even pull it up and give you the exact. Let me pull up my eyes. Let's do it. Let's just do it while we're on the mic. Why not? I typically have it. I like to actually put little tabs in my book so I can find them quick, but we're right here. We're right now. 181, first full Wolverine story. Okay, so again, no first appearance. It's just brief appearance and first full story appearance. The controversy comes from, the argument derives from less about what is the first appearance of Wolverine. Because first off, CGC, CBCS, they say the same things about what we just see on the labels here on these CGC examples. CBCS has the same thing. It's a cameo appearance and a first full appearance. That full matters, right?
Right.
Overstreet says something a little different. But what they all have in common is that none actually say the specific one-all, this is the first appearance of the character, because that's what collectors and dealers have all argued about. It's like this extra bracket of label. Really, all of these examples that we just gave, they stem off of that label, right? First appearance, but what first appearance? Because it doesn't necessarily matter, because what we're looking at is first full versus cameo because of what we discussed in the very beginning, which is comic books slow burning a character. So then it turns into how much of an appearance is the character. That's debatable across multiple keys. And coupling that with what I think is the real actual argument that people have. And they don't tend to phrase it like this, but I really think it is as simple as this. Which should be worth more? So Sammy, and in the chat, I want to hear your thoughts. Let's table Wolverine's appearances. We know that he makes an appearance, whether it's brief or full, in both of the issues. I would like to know which you think should be worth more. We went over the prices. We know what they're worth right now, but which should hold the value?
Yeah, that's a good question.
What do you think, Sammy?
All right. So
$40,000 difference. $40K.
Yeah. It's a huge difference. Okay, so for me, I like think of it abstractly, right? So if like, everyone shut your eyes. Think about walking into a comic book shop in 1974. You grab your Hulk 180, right? You're reading it, you bought it, it's yours. And then you turn to the first page. Hulk 181 does not exist yet. Okay? Hulk 180 just hit the rack and you have it. And you see this, right? And so my brain goes, okay, he's got details. He's looking BA in his fullest. You got him. For me, I'm like, that's the first for me seeing that. And like for that alone, I feel like that holds a lot of value. But at the same time, Hulk 181 with the cover, and like the way I feel about the value is this. I'm a Doctor Strange fan because of my grandma, and that's a very, very sentimental book to me. I had an opportunity to get Doctor Strange's first appearance. And I had to think about it. I wanted Doctor Strange 169 so bad because the cover was just undeniably incredible. He's on the cover, graded, you put him, display him, and that's what you get. That's what you see is the character that you're collecting. So for me in that way, I can definitely see why Hulk 181 is valued higher, because in this, right? In this one, I get Wolverine on the cover. Here, I don't get him on the cover, which is why this is not graded in my PC. So I am super curious how everyone feels about that.
All right, let's take a look at the chat here, because we're talking Hulk 180, 181. I find it interesting here. First off, let's see. No one would give up Hulk 181 for 180. That's not happening the other way around. J-Rod Street. So I see the point there. Yes, no one, but the fact that individuals are holding an investment that's worth double, that is the reason why they don't trade it. And that's exactly what we're talking about. Whether it should hold the higher value is the question that I'm bringing to, and I'm kicking to the community today. It's irrelevant whether or not someone in today's market, because anyone would be a fool to trade a $40,000 book for a $20,000 book.
Right. Trade
it for two $20,000 books, right? I mean, that's literally what you're talking about in this particular example. So this is some food for thought, because I've heard this said multiple times that this is never going to change, right? That this cameo first appearance is never going to change. So let me tell you what I think. Hulk 181, Hulk 180. When I first went to a comic book convention and I had enough money to get a Wolverine key, and I wanted one, I was provided an opportunity to buy two comics, and the dealer said, if you can't afford this Hulk 181, here's 180. This is what you should start with. This is the book that people were introduced to when you couldn't afford the higher value book. But it also was told to me in that moment, this is the first appearance of Wolverine. This is the first time he was ever shown in comic books. Factually correct, right? So as a Hellboy collector, I use my Hellboy lens, all right? I'm someone who hunted and secured his grail, by the way. I did that. I'm speaking in the third person here. I secured my grail this very year, Salt Lake City Comic-Con pamphlet, okay? And this is a prototype of Hellboy. It is the most wanted Hellboy collectible that exists. Not in X-Men 21, not San Diego Comic-Con 2. None of it. Like literally the only one that is like grail status beyond Dime Press, an Italian magazine that featured a prototype of Hellboy on the cover, is the pamphlet found that was given away at Salt Lake City Comic-Con in 1991. That goes for 20x what the first full appearance of Hellboy goes for. Now, as it's so eloquently put by Comic Journey, who said, the market decides. I think you're right. I think the market does decide. And right now, the market for over, I mean, how many years are we going now? It's almost 50 years. You know, Hulk debuted in 1974 in October, I believe it was. So that means November was 81, which means we're looking at a birthday celebration this very month of Wolverine. He's turning 47, if my math is correct. So after all this time, and granted, it didn't happen right out the gate. It wasn't until like 1980 that Overstreet even started to really dabble in figuring this out for themselves, that this conundrum began. What if Hulk 180 began to outsell 181? What if? Let's just throw that out there, right? We just watched What If on Disney Plus. What if this happened? Well, I can tell you one thing. I posted to Instagram today. I did a story post and I said, hey, which do you think should be worth more? Hulk 180 and 181. Near 50% split in the community.
Wow.
Now,
That's cool.
that's huge because I don't think that number would be the same, that percentage would be the same scale as what it would be 2 or 3, 4 years ago. I think that videos like we're doing right now, talking about this, getting it out there, you know, enlightening individuals who are just entering this collectible hobby for the first time. I'll remind the community that Disney Plus has revitalized comic book collecting. We don't even know to what extent
absolutely.
just yet. That what if 180 began to sell for higher dollar amounts? Because I believe that if that happened, then individuals by and large would move well past the 50 percentile and would start to say, no. I knew it all along. Hulk 180 should have been worth more. So I do believe that Hulk 180 should be worth more than Hulk 181. My Hellboy standards says that that makes the most sense. If I collected Wolverine like I did Hellboy, this would be my grail. I wouldn't care about how dope the cover is because Hulk 181's cover is way better. No one's going to argue that. But this is Wolverine. He's on near half of the page. Weapon X is mentioned, I believe, on page 3 of this book, Hulk 180. Yeah. This right here, to me, matters more because it is his first appearance. However, until the market changes, as Comic Journey said, I will submit and I will say, this right here is the baseline. This right here is the baseline of cameo versus full appearance, which is really the terms that matter and what kind of move the needle in mass in the collector's market. So as we go forward and dive deeper into the cameo, first full appearance, key status of books on this show, I will reference Hulk 181 and 181, which is why we felt it was important to do this today, because this right here is my metric. If it's an appearance that is any less than what you see on the screen, Comic Fam, I'm not calling it. If it's any less than this, I'm not calling it a cameo. It's going to fall into a, brief appearance, as Overstreet would say. The cameo is this benchmark. Anything more than what you see on the screen, I'm calling it a first appearance. And that's going to make a lot of other key books to a lot of members of the community something that they're going to disagree with. Because when you apply that metric, which I think is that benchmark, it starts tangling things up, as Wolverine says here in the panel. So, fun conversations, but Hulk 180, 181. It's only begun, Comic Fam. What do you think, Sam? Any last things to say about the subject?
Oh, absolutely. I just there's so much of him here. And like you said, with the details, he's Wolverine. He's a powerhouse. He's Weapon X. The Wolverine strikes back but once. But in his case, once is plenty. So you already know he's going to be wrecking the place in the next issue that is to come, which probably made it super exciting, in October 1974 when, you first see Wolverine for the first time. But yeah, I definitely agree. If it's less than that, the characters in the shadows, no name, no detail, it's okay. You're right. You do have to kind of draw the line, and it's fun. As collectors, it's fun to have opinions and be in the know on topics like these and like the verbiage, because when these conversations do pop up, especially on Instagram or like stuff like this, it's just so much fun, like having an opinion, sharing thoughts, agreeing, disagreeing, and stuff like that. But as a new collector, it's so important to know that verbiage. And yeah,
I love it. I love it. Comic fam, we want to hear your thoughts.
Okay,
We're going to
my
go to the
situation.
chat here. And yo, we want no negativity. Gooner, get out of here. We're booting you. You're gone. Enough of it.
Me?
We're talking about, no, not you. Sammy, you're fine. There's
Oh,
someone in
I
the chat.
glitched for a second, and then it popped back up, and
Yeah,
it
that's
was
right.
like, we're booting you. You're gone. I was
No,
like,
you
"Wait,
know what? No, not you, Sammy. You're totally fine. No. This is class, all right? If you're not gonna participate and you're not going to be part of the conversation, you donezo. I said
The
it.
ruler.
We're over here. We're doing a lesson. We're doing a class. I want
Fuck
none of
around.
your negativity. All right? You're not here. Get out. You're gone. You're donezo. Gooner, we got people in the
Shut
chat.
the desk.
Wrenches. Get rid of them. You donezo. Try me. All right, comic fam. We're doing Hulk 180, 181 discussions, and I want to touch on some of the things here. All right, so let's do it. We have an individual here that posted something really good. I liked it. Someone who disagreed with my Hellboy comparison, but let's chat about it. So, as mentioned, our third section of the show is going to be community interaction. So let's do it. We have, where'd it go? Tim Danner. The Hellboy comparison doesn't work. You're comparing a rare pamphlet with an issue from an ongoing comic book series. You're comparing apples and torpedoes. Interesting thought here. I hear you there. I absolutely hear you. So, something that is known is Next Men 21 is the first full appearance of Hellboy. Sure. I can see the argument that San Diego Comic-Con is yet another pamphlet. It's another appearance. However, it's still worth tremendously more to every collector, and to a Hellboy fan, that's the book to own, because it is the first Hellboy story. Go back even further to a comic-sized magazine, but still smaller than an average magazine, Dime Press, which features Hellboy on the cover. That is now 1, 2, 3 different publications, one literally being comic-sized with an entire story in it. That's worth more than a full first appearance. And mind you, Hellboy's only colored for the first time in red in a narrative in Next Men 21. So I can see the argument for sure that a pamphlet wouldn't be able to be compared to the key significance of a book. But we're talking about the hero's grail here. We're talking about books that are worth $40,000. And I think when you get into those terms, you gotta expand whether the size of the comic is small or larger. You gotta expand whether or not it's a full narrative or a brief appearance, an interview that features something or not. So great comment though. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I agree with that too, because when you love a character, that's what you're hunting for, everything about that character. And that's what makes it fun. And is that, like you said, that pamphlet, it's super rare. I don't know much about Hellboy. I don't know about the pamphlet, but when you showed me that, I was just thinking like, wow, like this is the thing to have if you love Hellboy. And even I could like see that Tom was glowing. He glows when he's around it. You can tell it's the thing. It's a Hellboy collector thing.
It is the thing. It is the thing. I also like this this thought experiment here, and I love to hear the chat's thoughts. And Sammy, I'll kick it to you first.
Mm-hmm.
You know how Immortal Hulk, back when it was really important to try to collect the character. Now, Immortal Hulk is the same Hulk. It's still Bruce Banner, right? But it was such a monumental run that people were like, okay, the fact that he became an immortal, even though he was always immortal, we learned about it at a certain point, thus he has become Immortal Hulk. It retroactively made some keys special because of his return. But his return took place over multiple issues where they teased it at the end. They showed like his eyes glowing. They started showing some green in the shadows. And then they, it was like a slow burn. And we can go through those eventually. So I was like thinking about this. Clearly, those are all cameos. No one argues that. It's not a thing. And now people don't really care anymore, right? Because Immortal Hulk is basically done, and Donny Cates is going to be on Hulk, and maybe the immortal aspect is just it was Hulk's heyday, and hopefully it's going to be a new legacy continued with Donny Cates, just like the amazing work that was done during that run initially. Al Ewing, shout out. What if on Hulk 180, on the cover, there was a shadow of a claw? Just a shadow. Because we all know that shadows mean nothing. It means nothing. But what if there was a shadow of a claw on the Hulk 180 cover? Everything else is the same. You still get the Weapon X verbiage on page 3. You still get Wolverine at the very end, introducing Wolverine, full claws. I want to know what the community thinks, Sammy. Would it be different?
If there was a claw on the front,
like
of
a
180.
shadow of the rocks or something, Here, let me even pull it
Yeah.
up. I'm going to pull up the actual picture. Let's imagine this.
I know.
Let's imagine
Well,
this.
I was like looking down at it. I'm like,
Let's say it was right here above and the wind howled Wendigo. Let's say right by his feet, right here on this little area on the left corner. You guys can't even see it because I didn't even bring it up. Here
for
we go.
me, I don't
Right
think.
What if there was a claw right here? I got to know your thoughts.
With covers compared, I still think that it's so hard to say. But right now, looking at the two like side by side, 181 just looks so incredible. I can't see that 180 with that claw would do it for me.
Do you think it would make a difference to people at large, though?
I think once they connected the dots and realized, like, oh my gosh, because if you think about it, if you put yourself back before Hulk 181 came out and you buy Hulk 180 off the rack and you're looking at the cover for the first time, I don't know if I'd connect the dots immediately from the last page to the cover.
Well,
I mean, today we would.
Okay, so let's assume today. Today. Individuals can connect the dots. It's clearly Wolverine. I don't know the answer. I'm just curious.
I don't know. My ears are like.
Comic fan, what do you think? Let me know. Imagine this cover right here. You had just a shadow of a claw on the bottom left of Hulk's foot, right there, that green foot. It's like, maybe there's even a word bubble or like a little square that says, "Ooh," and featuring a new foe. They don't even say Wolverine, it's just a new foe, like something very, very minor that's not descriptive, something that just shows one key element of Wolverine to just allude to it. I'm just curious.
AMKM Comics said, and thank you for the super chat that came in earlier.
Oh, thank you.
That would have nailed it. But the first appearance, because the community would have made it out to be Wolverine's hand. So 181 would have stayed as his second full appearance.
Comic Journey, thank you as well for the
sorry, that was a little choppy going there.
No, it's all good. I got you there. I appreciate the super chat there, Comic Journey as well. I didn't want to miss those. We still got to come up with a nice way to put that up. All right, Ron B says, no, a claw wouldn't be enough. 181 has Wolverine lunging at Hulk. 181 still wins. Hey, I love it. I don't think a cover defines a first appearance unless they happen on the cover and on the inside of the book at the same time. That's from Richard Villeth.
It's okay, AMKM.
There we go. So what's intriguing about this is that the history of how this even became a thing goes a little deeper than most individuals even know. And we're going to touch on this on another day because there's just so much to point out, so much to discuss. But even Overstreet has changed verbiage. Overstreet has actually completely negated 181 at one point as anything worth value. It also changed it really quick. Back and forth. Todd McFarlane has come on this very show. Not Comic Book 101. Maybe one day, but has come on to I've done an interview with him. And he's even said that he disagrees with Venom's first appearance, at least in context to what he understood it to be prior to external resources, third-party resources changing the definition. So there is an aspect that goes beyond the community and how we look at this. We've actually been told by companies, the man. It goes deep.
No, that's awesome. Let's see. Who said don't dare say Foom? Who was it? It went by so fast. Cali Comics. All I have to say is poor Andy Olsen, right?
I love
poor
it.
Andy Olsen.
Poor Andy Olsen. Comic Familia. We're talking expensive paper. I want to know your thoughts in the comment section below about Hulk 180, 181, cameo versus first full appearance. Let me know by commenting, hitting the like and the subscribe button if you're new to the channel.